The Philosophy of Color. By Manly P. Hall. In Meno, Plato, speaking through Socrates, describes color as an effluence of form, commensurate with sight, and sensible. In the Thetis he discourses more at length on the subject thus: let us carry out the principle which has just been affirmed, that nothing is self-existent, and then we shall see that every color, white, black, and every other color, arises out of the eye meeting the appropriate motion, and that what we term the substance of each color is neither the active nor the passive element, but something which passes between them, and is peculiar to each percipient. Are you certain that the several colors appear to every animal, say a dog, as they appear to you? In the Pythagorean Tetractys, the supreme symbol of universal forces and processes, are set forth the theories of the Greeks concerning color and music. The first 3 dots represent the threefold white light, which is the Godhead containing potentially all sound and color. The remaining 7 dots are the colors of the spectrum and the notes of the musical scale. The colors and tones are the active creative powers which, emanating from the first cause, establish the universe. The 7 are divided into 2 groups, one containing 3 powers, and the other 4 a relationship also shown in the Tetractys. The higher group, that of 3, becomes the spiritual nature of the created universe. The lower group, that of 4, manifests as the irrational sphere, or inferior world. In the mysteries, the 7 logi, or creative lords, are shown as streams of force issuing from the mouth of the Eternal One. This signifies the spectrum being extracted from the white light of the Supreme Deity. The 7 creators, or fabricators, of the inferior spheres were called by the Jews the Elohim. By the Egyptians they were referred to as the builders, sometimes as the governors, and are depicted with great knives in their hands with which they carved the universe from its primordial substance. Worship of the planets is based upon their acceptation as the cosmic embodiments of the 7 creative attributes of God. The lords of the planets were described as dwelling within the body of the sun, for the true nature of the sun, being analogous to the white light, contains the seeds of all the tone and color potencies which it manifests. There are numerous arbitrary arrangements setting forth the mutual relationships of the planets, the colors, and the musical notes. The most satisfactory system is that based upon the law of the octave. The sense of hearing has a much wider scope than that of sight, for whereas the ear can register from 9 to 11 octaves of sound, the eye is restricted to the cognition of but 7 fundamental color tones, or 1 tone short of the octave. Red, when posited as the lowest color tone in the scale of chromatics, thus corresponds to do, the first note of the musical scale. Continuing the analogy, orange corresponds to re, yellow to mi, green to fa, blue to sol, indigo to la, and violet to si, ti. The 8th color tone necessary to complete the scale should be the higher octave of red, the first color tone. The accuracy of the above arrangement is attested by 2 striking facts. 1. The 3 fundamental notes of the musical scale, the first, the third, and the 5th, correspond with the 3 primary colors red, yellow, and blue. 2. The 7th, and least perfect, note of the musical scale corresponds with purple, the least perfect tone of the color scale. In the Principles of Light and Color, Edwin D. Babbitt confirms the correspondence of the color and musical scales. As C is at the bottom of the musical scale and made with the coarsest waves of air, so is red at the bottom of the chromatic scale and made with the coarsest waves of luminous ether. As the musical note B, the 7th note of the scale, requires 45 vibrations of air every time, the note C at the lower end of the scale requires 24, or but little over half as many. So does extreme violet require about 300 trillions of vibrations of ether in a second, while extreme red requires only about 450 trillions, which also are but little more than half as many. When one musical octave is finished, another one commences and progresses with just twice as many vibrations as were used in the first octave, and so the same notes are repeated on a finer scale. In the same way, when the scale of colors visible to the ordinary eye is completed in the violet, another octave of finer invisible colors, with just twice as many vibrations, will commence and progress on precisely the same law. When the colors are related to the 12 signs of the zodiac, they are arranged as the spokes of a wheel. To Aries is assigned pure red, to Taurus, red-orange, to Gemini, pure orange, to Cancer, orange-yellow, to Leo, pure yellow, to Virgo, yellow-green, to Libra, pure green, to Scorpio, green-blue, to Sagittarius, pure blue, to Capricorn, blue-violet, to Aquarius, pure violet, and to Pisces, violet-red. In expounding the Eastern system of esoteric philosophy, H. P. Blavatsky relates the colors to the septenary constitution of man and the 7 states of matter as follows. Color principles of man: states of matter: violet haya, or etheric double ether; indigo higher manus, or spiritual intelligence; critical state called air blue auric envelope; steam or vapor green lower manus, or animal soul; critical state yellow Buddha, or spiritual soul; water orange prana, or life principle; critical state red kama rupa, or seed of animal life; ice. This arrangement of the colors of the spectrum and the musical notes of the octave necessitates a different grouping of the planets in order to preserve their proper tone and color analogies. Thus do becomes Mars, Re, the Sun, Mi, Mercury, Fa, Saturn, Sol, Jupiter, La, Venus, C, T. In this diagram, Flood has divided each of the 4 primary elements into 3 subdivisions. The first division of each element is the grossest, partaking somewhat of the substance directly inferior to itself, except in the case of the Earth, which has no state inferior to itself. The second division consists of the element in its relatively pure state, while the third division is that condition wherein the element partakes somewhat of the substance immediately superior to itself. For example, the lowest division of the element of water is sedimentary, as it contains earth substance in solution. The second division represents water in its most common state, salty as in the case of the ocean, and the third division is water in its purest state, free from salt. The harmonic interval assigned to the lowest division of each element is 1 tone, to the central division also a tone, but to the higher division a half tone, because it partakes of the division immediately above it. Flood emphasizes the fact that as the elements ascend in series of 2 and a half tones, the diatessaron is the dominating harmonic interval of the elements. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Also, check out the rest of our videos on esoteric philosophy as well.